loaded for Wallace. What a throw! Touchdown, Pittsburgh! Roethlisberger on a pitch. Successful to Antoine Randall. Rodgers goes down in the arms of Harrison. Rodgers looking left, comes to his right. Jennings, touchdown. Mendenhall back in the game and into the end zone for the touchdown. Back in the end zone, Ward, touchdown.
NBC Nightly News is next.
But first, a special tribute to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice on Memorial Day weekend through the work of our photojournalist Tim Holloman.
Have a great night and a great weekend.
Here's one. Herbert Klein. Hi, Herb. And thank you. There's a lot of friends, a lot of relatives, and total strangers here. They all deserve our respect.
Oh, Korea. This is like Grandpa. Grandpa and Pap are right here.
I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful that they donated and that they take their time. They have to have heart. They have to have heart, that's all.
Yeah, this one's my father-in-law's. I make sure I don't lose this one. Right in there. There you go, Bill. Real proud of his service in World War II. Thank you for service, too. Joe. Korea.
I want to just let them understand all the sacrifices that all the men and women have made for us for the last 200 years.
World War II. Yeah, right here.
News coverage you can count on.
She vanished 26 years ago, but tonight, Target 11 has uncovered a new lead in the Cherry Mahan case, and it's a surprising one. The 8-year-old girl got off her school bus and was never seen again.
But Target 11 investigator Rick Earl has learned that police are now interested in getting DNA from a woman to see if she may be the missing girl. This information took Rick from Butler County, where Cherry Mahan disappeared, all the way to the state of Michigan. And Rick, we understand you've been working on this for the past 2 months now.
That's right, David. A long time indeed. State police are now taking this very seriously. In fact, they just told Cherry Mahan's mom about this new lead today. This tip led us all the way to Michigan. Right off the bat, I want to say the woman says she's not Cherry Mahan. But tonight, police have a lot of questions and interviews to do, bringing this case right back to life after all these years. 8-year-old Cherry Mahan was last seen getting off a school bus near her home in Cabot on February 22, 1985. Witnesses said she may have gotten into a blue van with a skier mural painted on the side. She hasn't been seen since. Or has she? State police tell us they are now tracking a possible sighting of the girl that happened months after she vanished. That girl is now a woman living in a small Michigan community. Target 11 traveled to that town in Michigan to track down the source of that information.
I couldn't answer that for sure. I certainly wish I could help you.
After finding the woman who claims she may have seen Cherry Mahan, we asked her many times about what she could remember about that possible sighting so long ago. She was vague at first, but then the interview took a strange turn.
If you shut that off, I'll tell you something.
Okay. We did, and it starts with her claim that she saw a van at a high school track meet matching the description of the van in Cherry's case. Sometime after that track meet, she saw a flyer of missing Cherry Mahan in the store. She called the number on the flyer, left a message, but never heard back. She was so concerned that she tracked down Cherry's mom and even called her. That was all 26 years ago, but only now the details are emerging.
She vanished 26 years ago, but tonight, Target 11's uncovered a new lead in the Cherry Mahan case in Michigan. And since then, we've learned the police have obtained DNA from Mahan's mother. Target 11 investigator Rick Earl went to Michigan to discover why police think Cherry could be alive.
Scenic northern Michigan. Could this pristine setting hold the key to Cherry Mahan's disappearance? In a big new development in the case, state police say they are hoping to obtain DNA from a woman who lives here to see if she may be the missing girl. Target 11 has researched the tip and talked to the woman. She says she's not Cherry Mahan, but police say they still have a lot of questions.
It's very interesting, and you know, there's questions that have been posed to us that we need to find the answers to. So we'll work as quickly as we can to get those answers.
This startling revelation comes after a Michigan woman claims she saw a van matching the description of a van seen where Mahan disappeared 26 years ago. Target 11 traveled to Michigan and tracked down the source of this information.
I couldn't answer that for sure. I certainly wish I could help you.
We questioned the woman who claimed she spotted the van, but she revealed very little with the camera rolling. Then the interview took a surprising turn.
If you shut that off, I'll tell you something.
Okay. She told us an elaborate story about the van and a man with a young girl who resembled Cherry Mahan. She said the encounter happened at a track meet about 26 years ago, just months after Mahan disappeared from a bus stop in front of her Butler County home. Sometime after that track meet, she saw a flyer of missing Cherry Mahan in the store. She called the number on the flyer, left a message, but never heard back. She was so concerned that she tracked down Cherry's mom and even called her. We took all of the information along with photos and videos to state police. They confirmed Monday that they are now looking into the woman's claims about spotting the van and the child. And they also tell Target 11 they would like to get a DNA sample from the woman now living in northern Michigan to see if there's any connection to the case.
Everyone here is committed to bringing this case to a good conclusion, whatever it may be, but we want to get it resolved.
State police tell me they still get plenty of tips like this one and they check them all out. Investigators also tell me they met with Cherry Mahan's mom to fill her in on all of the latest developments. I asked how she was taking news of the brand new lead. Investigators would only say she's not doing well. Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
And you can learn more about the history of the Cherry Mahan case along with Rick's story on our website, WPXI.com. You can go right there to the homepage and read more about it.
Police have a new lead in the Cherry Mahan case. Target 11 broke the story.
Now I'm talking to Cherry's mother.
The hardest part is the not knowing.
Live, local, late breaking. This is Channel 11 News. News coverage you can count on.
Every picture I see, every time somebody thinks that they're her, I want it to be her.
Cherry Mahan's mother reacts to the new lead in the case of her missing daughter. Target 11 broke the news yesterday of that new lead.
Police investigating a tip that Cherry Mahan may be alive, and now we're learning how her mother is helping. Target 11 today, he's here to tell us what he's learned. Rick?
But Peggy, police tell me they are aggressively working this tip, trying to get an answer fast. Now, just yesterday, they got DNA from Cherry Mahan's mom, and they are still interested in DNA from a woman in Michigan to rule out any possible connection. Today, I sat down with Cherry's mom to talk about this new lead.
Nobody would ever understand the heartache, the pain, the not knowing,
An emotional Janice McKinney fights back the tears as she talks about the new lead in the case. She says she's not getting her hopes too high. She's been there before.
Every time somebody thinks that they're her, I want it to be her. But I'm to the point now I just need hard facts. I need somebody to prove to me that this is her or it isn't her.
Now to a Target 11 investigation. A 15-year-old girl waiting for a bus vanishes. At first, police suspect she's a runaway. Then the case takes a shocking turn. Tonight, 30 years later, her murder is still unsolved. But as Target 11 investigator Rick Earl discovered, there is a movement by friends and relatives to shed some new light on this old case. Rick?
Peggy, we sat down with one of the original investigators on this case. We got a rare look inside the extensive murder file. And we also talked with friends and relatives who are making sure this case isn't forgotten until it's solved.
Well, 30 years has gone by, and it's still to this day, people remember this.
Marty Diamond won't ever forget.
And it traumatized this whole township.
The day 15-year-old Christine Gunther vanished from a bus stop in broad daylight on Route 19 at Donaldson's Crossroads in Peters Township. Days later, on Halloween, her body found in the woods nearby.
It was tragic and scary and a lot of grief.
Diamond didn't know Gunther personally, but he and others who remember the case are now on a crusade to catch a killer. 2 years ago, some friends and classmates got together and launched their own investigation. They came here to the gravesite and placed this arrow that says, "Peters Township remembers, you are not forgotten." Diamond and the others created a Facebook page asking for any information about her disappearance and death.
Got the wheels rolling, got a lot of involvement. We have a lot of people who are dedicated to searching things, searching facts.
I'm overwhelmed. We know Pittsburgh's a wonderful place. We know Pittsburghers are special, but this is above and beyond.
Christine's mother, Carmen, now lives in Florida. I spoke with her during a recent trip to Pittsburgh. You had never imagined in your wildest dreams that this would go on for more than 30 years.
Never, never. No, my God, my wildest dreams are my wildest nightmares.
Our cameras were also invited inside as the family met with Allegheny County Police to reopen the file. Investigators telling them they continue reviewing the case, working every angle. Investigators also showed us photos taken the day Christine's body was found and notes and drawings made by detectives decades ago, indicating the cause of death as blunt force trauma to the head.
We had a few suspects, but nothing really panned out as far as prosecution-wise.
In memory of the 30th anniversary of Christine's death, friends and relatives are putting up a billboard near the site of her disappearance, hoping someone will come forward with information leading to the killer.
We're not going to give up until somebody is, either brought to justice or we have somebody that we think did it.
Friends have a host of events planned this weekend, beginning with a memorial service Saturday morning and the unveiling of that billboard you saw in the story on Monday morning. They will also be handing out this flyer with her picture asking the simple question, "Do you know who murdered me?" Reporting live, Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
There is a new push tonight to find a killer. A woman brutally raped and suffocated more than 2 decades ago. The killer has never been found.
Target 11 investigator Rick Earl with new developments in a case that rocked a small community. Rick?
David, Peggy, there's a possible explanation why after all these years this case remains unsolved. And that has more to do with Mother Nature than anything else. But tonight the hope is that cold, hard cash will convince anyone to come forward with information about the killer.
Allegheny County homicide detectives are on.
December 6, 1986.
Because we have 3 small kids, so he attacked her.
36-year-old Carol Kresick's nude body bound and gagged in her East Pittsburgh apartment, sexually assaulted and suffocated.
I'm standing in front of Carol Kresick's residence. Still no suspect in her murder.
Brings back some very sad memories.
Nearly 25 years later, we return to the scene of the crime with this man, a close friend of Kresick's, who's now offering a $10,000 reward.
Someone that deserves every measure of justice.
He's on a crusade to catch a killer. He launched a website seeking information, convinced America's Most Wanted to feature the story on their website. And for the very first time, he's talking about the case and the reward only to Target 11.
My wife and I thought about it and decided together that it was a good idea and to bring perhaps this to a closure.
Remember that it was a very brutal murder and it was something that didn't happen a lot in this community.
East Pittsburgh Police Chief Lori Payne grew up in this neighborhood, was in the 5th grade at the time of the murder. Kresick was single and lived alone. Payne took us behind the Ridge Avenue apartment and showed us the killer's escape route.
He came up this path here and straight up into a street there in North Braddock and virtually disappeared at that time.
No sign of the killer after that?
No.
We've been close a few times. We talked to 2 different suspects on this, and we thought we had them at one time. But
Allegheny County Police Assistant Superintendent James Morton reopened the extensive file for us.
You can see how large the case file is itself. There's hundreds of interviews in here.
Morton took us step by step through the case. It began when a neighbor called 911 after hearing a scream. When police arrived, the killer was still inside Kresick's apartment.
When they made entry, a neighbor called and said that the actor was exiting out the back window.
So they were that close to catching this
They missed
person.
them by minutes.
But the investigation took an unfortunate turn in 1996 when floodwaters backed up in the crime lab, destroying most of the evidence.
We had that evidence today. I think we could solve a good majority of these cold cases.
I can't imagine anyone doing something that evil, but obviously they're still out there.
Now, with advances in DNA testing during the past decade, Morton believes this case and about a dozen others would have been solved by now if that evidence hadn't been contaminated in the flood of '96. Now, these cold cases are occasionally reopened and reviewed by detectives to see if they missed anything the first time around. Right now, investigators are in the middle of their third review of the Cressick case. And of course, with this reward out there, we'll let you know if anything develops. Reporting live, Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
Rick joins us live with this survival story, and it's one you'll see only on 11. Rick.
Yeah, Darius, everywhere you turn here, there's destruction and debris. Take a look to my left. You can see lumber and trees down littering this yard. There's also some insulation here, some shingles as well, all over this place. Take a look to my right here. You can see this is actually a roof that was blown off of a building about 50 yards behind us. And if you look right across the street right there, you can see that trailer. It actually flipped over. Now, earlier today, I talked to a man who was inside a trailer just like that when the tornado blew him away.
I'm okay. I got very sore, hips and just stiff, real stiff.
74-year-old Joe Bukowski is recovering at his home in Arona after a harrowing experience Wednesday afternoon. Take a look in his driveway, the back of his pickup truck several feet in the air, and the camping trailer connected to the pickup now on its side. Bukowski was actually inside the trailer getting it ready for vacation when the tornado blew in and flipped it.
So the floor became the wall, and I went down and hit the cabinets. I flew across the trailer.
His wife Ruth rode out the storm inside the pickup truck.
The truck was rocking back and forth. I thought it was going to flip too. It didn't, luckily, but there was siding and shingles and chairs. Honest to God, I never saw anything like it in my life.
Ruth said she tried to get her husband out but couldn't reach him, so she called 911. Rescue crews had a difficult time getting to this area because of all of the trees that were knocked down. 2.5 hours later, they finally made it here. They pulled him to safety by cutting a hole in the roof of the trailer. Bukowski believes he's lucky that the trailer was attached to the pickup truck.
I could have kept rolling. It's amazing, a 5,000, 6,000 pound trailer, and then you're just standing there and it just picks it right up and now it turns it over like nothing.
Bukowski suffered a fractured vertebrae. He won't be going on vacation anytime soon, but says he will be okay.
I've never been near a tornado, so it's something I don't want to be near again.
And Joe Bukowski was rushed to Westmoreland Regional Hospital last night where he was treated for some scrapes and bruises. Today, of course, he's recovering at home, and he tells me he's not so sure if he's going to get back into that trailer. That is the very latest. Reporting live near Arona, Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
Our investigator Rick Earl broke the story on WPXI.com.
Law enforcement sources tell me as part of the Jerry Sandusky investigation, agents are now looking at online child pornography traced to Penn State University computers. Sources tell Target 11 that child pornography was found at approximately 7 IP addresses in State College. 3 computers were off campus, but 4 of the computers were linked into the Penn State University network. They could belong to many different people, including students, staff, and teachers. All of the computers had images and videos of child pornography. Well, David, attorneys for one of the victims came out swinging today, calling Jerry Sandusky a coward and saying his decision here to back down at the last minute amounted to yet another form of abuse. Jerry Sandusky left the courthouse after waiving his right to a preliminary hearing. That last-minute maneuver drew an angry response from attorneys who represent one of the alleged victims. They lashed out at both Sandusky and his attorney, Joe Amendola.
This lawyer has accused our client of fabricating, along with other people, this situation, and now to bail out and not face his accusers, I think just tells you all you need to know about what's happened here.
Are you calling him a coward?
Yeah, I'm calling him a coward.
Jerry Sandusky's preliminary hearing gave us a glimpse at how his lawyers plan to attack the prosecution's case, and their focus is on Mike McQueary. Target 11's Rick Earl is in State College, and only at 11, he caught up with McQueary outside his home.
After waiving the preliminary hearing on Tuesday, Jerry Sandusky's legal team made it clear they plan to question the credibility of football coach Mike McQueary. So what does McQueary think about this new defense strategy? You really took a beating from Joe Amendola yesterday. Just wondered if you had anything to say.
No, not right now, guys. Thank you.
We tried to talk to McQueary as he returned to his State College home with his wife Wednesday morning. One day after Jerry Sandusky's attorney raised questions about what McQueary saw in the Penn State showers in 2002 when he was a grad assistant. McQueary told the grand jury he witnessed Jerry Sandusky raping a 10-year-old boy. But during the past month, his story has changed and evolved several times.
We know, for example, in emails that he said to his friends that he broke up the assault and he called the police. And yet the police tell us that there were never any calls made by Mike McQueary to them about this incident.
And now recent reports surfaced indicating that McQueary, who was placed on leave from the football team, never actually saw anything in the shower, but just heard sounds. Can you tell us what you saw in the showers, Mike?
Come on, come on, baby. Come on, let's go inside.
When asked if McQueary would have testified during the preliminary hearing, prosecutors offered only a very brief response.
I would imagine that he would have, yes.
We've heard 3 different stories about what Mike McQueary saw in the showers at Penn State a decade ago. We will likely have to wait until the trial next summer to hear the truth. In State College, Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
You bet. All right, big man, in the pregame show you were talking salsa. Now you're talking a win. How's this one? This is a tougher one than I think you guys thought.
Why do we have to do this every time?
Every time on Sunday night you make it interesting.
We have to, keep fans in their seats, keep people tuned into the TV. But a win's a win. We'll take them any way we can get them. We needed this AFC win.
Well, this win that gets them to 8 wins is critical because it's an AFC win. We have to remember that right now Baltimore, despite the fact that the records are very similar, they hold the tiebreaker. So this is a critical AFC win because that all factors into any tiebreakers that would be down the road. And getting a win in Kansas City, Coach Tomlin knows it's a tough place to get that done.
It's a tough place to get it done, but it wasn't that loud today as everyone's expected it to be loud. All these yellow seats, a lot of them weren't filled, so it wasn't as loud as it usually was.
Vince Lombardi Trophy is what the Steelers are playing for, and number 43, a prominent player in Super Bowl 45. Troy Polamalu and Aaron Rodgers on the stadium behind me, along with the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Such excitement around the week.
Had a chance to stop by, so we will take you there in just a few minutes. It's a pretty interesting experience, pardon me.
This was a spectacular night for Penguins fans.
It was an event. It was a spectacle. It's unique in sports to have one sport played in another sports venue.
I talked with Sidney Crosby about facing Ovechkin and the rivalry between the Caps and Penguins.
Yeah, I would say I think both teams, realize that these games and the games against one another bring out the best in each team, and I don't think that's by fluke. I mean, both teams want to win, and with it being a big event like this, with it being outside, I think with a bigger stage it brings out even more. So that's what we'd expect from them, and I'm sure they expect from us.
How do you not, having gone through it for about a month now, how do you not look ahead to that game? How has that been? You guys have been able to be on a winning streak and focus on each game, but to not get carried away looking just at this one game?
Well, I think you just have to realize it's a process, and you want to be playing good hockey leading up to that point. That's an important thing. So
Channel 11's meteorologist Scott Harbaugh is out driving in the middle of all of it, and he filed this report just minutes ago.
Decided to make our way towards some of the back streets on the south side right now, and there's definitely some snow on the road. Started knowing the snow on the Hot Meadow Street Bridge, as Tricia Pittman tells you all the time. Bridges and overpasses freeze first. That's certainly the case. We're heading toward the south side slopes right now. Notice the intersections are basically wet, but you look across the street and you can see the snow on the roads. This is actually Sarah Street right now.
Hey, David, what a difference a few hours makes. Earlier, it was nothing but rain. Walk out the door at this hour, it's a virtual winter wonderland out here, and that's causing a big mess tonight for drivers here on the Parkway North. Take a look behind me. This is what it looks like right now as people are leaving the city. 279 the Parkway North, slow going. You see the headlights there pointing at us. At the McKnight Road off-ramp here, you see traffic is virtually stopped.
Simply put, winter is a unique season. There is no other season in our area with as many types of precipitation or as many kind of watches and warnings and advisories. Freezing rain, sleet, snow. snow showers, snow squalls, snow flurries, winter weather advisory, lake effect snow warning, ice storm warning, wind chill watch. Seriously, what does it all mean? More importantly, how does it impact you? Let's start with the difference between a warning, a watch, and an advisory. A warning means significant life-threatening weather will occur or is already occurring. A watch means exactly what it says. We're watching for the possibility of significant weather, but it's not guaranteed. An advisory is kind of like a heads up to let you know that disruptive weather is on the way or is occurring, but it isn't quite as dangerous as weather that would prompt a warning. There are more than a dozen types of winter weather warnings, watches, and advisories, so let me explain some of the ones that you hear the most each winter. A winter storm warning is when the National Weather Service issues for 6 inches or more of snow to fall in a 12-hour period or 8 or more inches in 24 hours. A winter weather advisory is issued for 3 to 6 inches of snow over a 12-hour period. See, disruptive, impactful, but not quite as bad as a warning. A freezing rain advisory is issued when ice accumulation of less than 1/4 of an inch is expected to occur. And yes, there is a difference between freezing rain and sleet. Here's the quick explanation. Freezing rain is rain that freezes when it makes contact with the ground or surfaces colder than 32 degrees. Freezing rain is probably the most dangerous form of winter weather because you think the road or sidewalk is just wet, when in fact, it's a sheet of ice. Sleet, on the other hand, is ice pellets which are already frozen when they reach the ground. It accumulates faster than freezing rain, but is often not as slippery or treacherous, and sometimes you can actually get a little traction on some sleet, which you can't with freezing rain. Either way, a four-wheel drive vehicle does not help you in icy situations, just in snow. We pay attention to snow and ice because we can see it. Winter travel can be treacherous, and we take the necessary precautions. But a far more dangerous winter evil is something we often can't see: wind chill. Wind chill is how we measure the impact of temperature and wind to our exposed skin. The stronger the wind, the faster your body loses heat, and the greater the risk for frostbite. That's why we always tell you to wear layers and cover as much of your skin as possible in those brutally frigid winter days. Frostbite can occur in about 30 minutes when the wind chill is colder than 15 degrees below zero. With a wind chill colder than 30 degrees below zero, frostbite can often occur in as little as 10 minutes. A wind chill advisory will always be issued when the wind chill is expected to be colder than 10 below. Protecting yourself from frostbite is pretty simple if you just follow a few tips. Wear a few layers of loose-fitting, lightweight clothing. Make sure the outer layer is water repellent and wind resistant, and use mittens instead of gloves so your fingers can share heat with each other. It's a lot of information in a short period of time, but you can also check out our weather page at WPXI.com to get a closer look. Scott Harbaugh, Channel 11 News.